I wanna hold you till your bones keeps running through my mind. And all your little lies you've been telling for some time. There will be no peace tonight, 'cause hell's raging on the inside. Don't kick a girl when she's down, or she'll hunt you around town. I'm a sweet little bloodhound.
Hi, this is Devlin Miles from Sweet Little Bloodhound. We are launching our SLB In the Trailer podcast, which we will be doing interviews with featured artists that we are hosting at Putnams Unplugged on Sunday nights for a few months. And that's Putnams Pub Cooker at 419 Myrtle Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. And it's a great intimate setting to see artists. So today I have with me Kim Nicholais from Nicholais Photography. She's one of the photographers that's going to be photographing the indie artist. Our goal as a whole, doing the music series plus the podcast, is to help indie artists with promotion and also give them some publicity photos and also live performance video. So we're trying to lower the overall cost but increase the reward for the indie artist. So Kim Nicholais has been invited to be a part of the project, and she's offering her time, so we're really happy to have her on board. Give me a little bio ruckus.
A little bio ruckus. Okay, so I'm a freelance photographer here in New York City, and I have a range of backgrounds. I was trained as a graphic designer and photographer, so I have both skill sets as far as being able to compose an image in camera and see the final layout before it's even in a layout. So that's been a big asset as a photographer, getting direction from art directors and things like that, having been an art director myself. So that's, a very quick backstory. I've been photographing sports and fashion for the last 7 years. I also have a pretty significant clientele that I do stuff for regularly. Along with that, if that's not enough, I also have a wedding business called Bride and Joy Photography, and we don't do 1 million weddings a year, but everything comes as a referral. One of the things that I would like to do as a personal project, I started a few years back. I'm going to revisit my B-boy and B-girl portraits that I did and some interviews that I did with the underground hip-hop scene and how fashion affects what they wear during their dancing and how they try to get one up on each other when it comes to like who's wearing the best shoes or who has the best sweatshirt, things like that. It's a very heavy influenced culture when it comes to clothing and b-boys and b-girls.
Oh, interesting. In terms of photographing here at Putnams, what do you hope to accomplish out of it? I mean, you're obviously volunteering your time for these indie artists. Is there anything that you hope to receive as a benefit?
I think one of the things that I'd like to see come out of photographing the artists at Putnams is being able to capture the space and the artists in the space, how they work within the space. There's some really great design details within the upstairs and the downstairs, and the downstairs party room is really great. I think they did a tremendous job at utilizing that space and creating these vaults and the DJ booth, and I think it'll make for some really great photographs.
I know there's different facets of photography, and you've mentioned some of them being sports and fashion, and there's also wedding photography, and you've kind of covered a gamut on all of that. So from personal photography to commercial photography to fashion photography, what do you enjoy most?
I think I definitely enjoy the documentary side of things, whether it's documenting a wedding or, just being out on the street and taking pictures, whether it's with just my iPhone or if I happen to have my camera on me. It's documentation. And, it's one of those things that when I photograph a wedding, I'm not really trying to capture every single thing that's happening in the wedding, but it's the key moments that the bride and groom don't get to see because they're off doing something else. It's storytelling. And I think that's why I was so drawn to, one, being an art director, two, being an artist in general, actually. And now being a photographer, it's about telling stories. And, a photo can last as long as time. So
yeah, I think that's a really great point that you brought up, being that it's a storytelling medium as well. And one of the reasons why I was so interested in doing the music series here at Putnams was the fact that other artists are telling their own stories, whether they're telling from another perspective of someone they know, a stranger or whatever. It's all about storytelling, and there's different capacities in which we tell stories. So it's interesting that you brought up photography is one as well.
Yeah, well, I think, I love music, and the side of music that I love the most is that I can create a picture in my head from the lyrics that come out of a songwriter or an artist or a musician. I think that being able to identify with a song is really important, and I latch on to songs or musicians that tell those stories more frequently than others. I'm not a huge, the style of music right now is a little frustrating to me because I feel like it all sounds the same. So I'm drawn to more of the style that's going to be happening here at Putnams, whether it's the Songwriter series or a folk singer coming in or an indie straight up indie artist. I think that they all have some pretty amazing stories to tell. And if you can walk away at the end of the day and know that a little bit of that song was written for you, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me some of the artists that you are, like songwriters or artists that you're specifically impressed with lately or following?
Lately, one of the biggest and has been for a long time is Brandi Carlile. I think she has an incredible way of telling a story and being able to emote the emotion that comes along with that story, and hearing the graveliness of her voice. I feel that way about, let's see, who else is there out there? Casey Musgraves, who's out of Nashville, who is a little controversial because of the heaviness of her lyrics. Ray LaMontagne, I really enjoy listening to him. I think he's got a really great storytelling ability, and you really feel like the song hit you when you hear it, when you hear his stuff. Those are just to name a few. I could probably
And one of the things that's going on right now is we've got streaming service, we got radio, we've got satellite radio, we've got podcast playlists. People are getting music from so many different avenues. What do you find, Pandora, what do you find is your common go-to place where you hear new artists, and where can indie artists reach you, basically?
That's a hard question. I have to think about that a little bit because I do like the aspects of Pandora and Spotify, and just being able to plug in somebody's name and know that they're going to rotate through a playlist. The frustrating part about those services are that it seems to be all of the same things that come up. So I keep it kind of limited. And when I know I want to listen to something, I just go directly to my iPod and, Brandi Carlile, back to her. I can listen to her album from front to back, and I don't seem to get bored with it. I was recently listening to some of the nominees for this year's Grammys, and I got through 3 songs on a particular album, and I got a little bored. I felt like a lot of the instrumentation was all the same, and it just didn't have a variety for me.
So when you are hearing new songs, new music, what grabs you? Is it different things? Would it be the beat? Would it be the melody? Or what are you drawn to? Do you know?
First off, the lyrics. It goes back to that storytelling thing. And then, I listen for the instrument and the melody, and if it all fits together, if it's a new song that I haven't heard before, I'll go and look that artist up. I'll go to their webpage. I'll go see who they are. One of the people that I came across years ago was Serena Ryder. I saw her live, and damn, she just hit you with a song, and it was like you got smacked in the face. And we saw her whole show, and I went and bought two of the CDs. And I look forward to every release that comes out of that Canadian.
That's funny that you bring up Canada, because I am often quoted as saying, I think my music would go over really well in Canada. And I have no idea, and I'm basing that off on my own sort of skewed opinion of songwriters that have come out of Canada and the Canadians that I've had the pleasure of meeting in my life and been surrounded by. I've gone to Toronto a few times and Ottawa and been able to perform shows up there. Why do you think Canada has such a strong connection with great songwriters and America is not so versed with that?
Well, I think one of the reasons the Canadians are so versed in their music is that they're a little bit, they're a little more free. Somebody said to me tonight, actually totally off the topic, in a totally different industry, he said that, Canadians will stick with you and they're loyal. And he's like, in my business, Americans, if you don't hear, if your customer doesn't hear from you in 2 or 3 months, forget it, but I think Canadians are like that. If they like you, they'll stick with you. And I think they work a little bit harder to help promote their people.
Yeah, I can see that. I also, there's a great pride and ownership in being an American, and that's kind of what a lot of other citizens from other countries that have wanted to come here and have, I want to be an American, or, drive across the border and try to get here. The fight to be an American because of the free will is also one of the reasons that we have such a hard time, sticking to, there's a lot of change that happens, whether it be in fashion, there's like, it's quick in music, whatever, in entertainment, 15 minutes of fame and you're out, one-hit wonders. It's just kind of like we can't hold on to anything to some degree.
Yeah, well, not to get on the whole political thing, but, it's great to be an American. I'm proud to live here. I think that it's also been, look, media and technology has gotten in the way of living. And I don't think that people really take the time to enjoy what's happening right in front of them. They're on their phone, they cross the street, they're on the phone. They're driving, they're on the phone. So I think that not just American, but our society today has stopped living in a way. And hopefully it will come back around. But I think, I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought.
We got off on a tangent there. So let's get back to our artistry and here at Putnam's and what we're going to do with our indie series here that we're attempting to do by offering indie artists an opportunity to perform live in front of a very comfortable neighborhood, casual environment. By casual being that it's informal, but not... I don't know how else to describe that, but I'm just saying it's a beautiful venue. It's not run down or anything. It's a respected venue in the area and in New York press. So we're really happy to be a part of it here.
Yeah, I think, as far as, I've been involved in indie music for a while, and as a photographer, as helping bands, get their PR, their press pictures done, that kind of thing. I think that Putnam's has a lot to offer, and I think it's a relaxed way of showcasing talent in a different way. There's a lot of really fantastic venues in the city for music. But I think that indie artists and, non-indie artists, could benefit from a place like Putnam's and be able to not be so hung up on this, I got to play at this place, I got to play at that place. I think it's a really good way to get new material out there, to meet people that they normally wouldn't meet, because let's face it, we all go to live music to see who we want to see. But if you're in more of a casual setting in Clinton Hill, Brooklyn, and you happen to walk into Putnam's and there's a really great act up there performing, you've just, been introduced to something new. And I think that's what's missing in music today.
Right. Well, I think, too, one of the things that makes this environment at Putnam's so charming, and I'm so delighted that Jerry invited me to be a part of the music program here, but oftentimes with media and social media, you get a lot of different perspectives now that we didn't have before. With Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and you can see how people are looking through, they're looking at their lives and what they choose to share. So it makes it more of a personal experience, and people feel actually connected to their artists. And one of the things that I thought about the Putnams, and generally we do an opener set and then 2 45-minute sets with the same artist or maybe 2 different artists. But the idea is to make it a whole evening, and that in those break moments, the audience can be a part with the performing artist. I mean, a lot of times as an artist, you want to go hide, because you're in another, you're in this other element in your mindset, which I've had. But in this environment, I feel more like I can step away from my microphone and go and chat with somebody that's sitting at the bar and connect with them on another level, and it lets you connect with the fans. Do you kind of agree on what Putnam's brings to the table in a different way for an indie artist and the audience members, actually?
Well, I think it gives the fans and the artists the opportunity, like you said, to commingle. Whereas when you get off of a stage, say, at any big venue in New York City or LA or London, there's this perception that artists are untouchable. And I think what is about to happen at Putnam's is it's going to enable people to talk about music. Hey, you did a really great job. I love that song. Fans don't usually get that opportunity when they go see somebody big. So, yeah, right now, these are smaller acts in Putnams, but you don't know where those small acts are going to go. And to have a relationship early on with fans is the most important. And, you know, Taylor Swift is really great at that, I think, being kind of in touch with fans. And there's several artists out there who I think can do that very well. And then there's other artists who, you know, don't, and that's fine.
Right. I've been on both sides of the fence in terms of wanting to mingle or not wanting to mingle, and it really does depend on the scenario. But the other thing that is cool about Putnams is that bigger artists, say like you've brought up Randy Carlisle a few times, and she used to start and play. She played in all these small clubs in Seattle, and still will go back and return to some of these smaller clubs that she used to play in. And I just think that she would love a venue like this, that, you know, and be an intimate experience for her fans to come, and then also have like the VIP lounge or whatever downstairs.
Yeah, well, if Devlin Miles and Sweet Little Bloodhound can get Brandy Carlisle into Putnams, that'd be pretty amazing. And she probably would dig it. She seemed like a pretty down-to-earth person. And, you know, she was once, you know, an independent indie artist, you know, coming up. And I saw her 10 years ago, almost, at a little place in New York City called the Coda, which doesn't even exist anymore. But there was hardly a soul in the audience, and I was just like floored. I was like, wow, this girl is going to be like somebody. We're going to see her in 5 years. And, you know, turns out she's pretty big.
And she's got a great live performance. I've been so amazed at what they can do on stage and how much they invite the audience in. I've seen them in crowds that are more of a festival that's not necessarily only their fans, and how much they win over the crowd. It's such a cool thing to see that happen when you see a new fan develop. Right.
Well, it's part of the art of being a really great entertainer, and she and both of the twins, they have that, and you can obviously see that they really have a great stage presence together and really connect in, you know, a lot of ways. So I wish there were more artists out there like her, because I would go spend all my money seeing those shows.
Well, we can't have all that, Ruckus. They can't all be great, right? So moving on to like about you, one of the questions I like to ask the other artists is, if you were to experience the world from another perspective, would be that like a time period, if you want to go to Prohibition period or go back to royalty days, or if you'd like to experience, let's start there. Is there another time? Is there a time period that you'd like to travel in or experience, if you could, firsthand?
I've always been fascinated with like the Prohibition era, actually, since you brought it up. I think bootlegging is something that I can't even imagine people have gone through. And, you know, my dad always used to tell a story of when he was a young kid, he used to, you know, pull the wagon full of, bootleg moonshine around the corner in Montclair, New Jersey. And, I just can't imagine ever not being able to drink alcohol. So to me, having a secret little hideaway where you can go and get a sidecar or a Manhattan or, you know, whatever is it's cool.
Yeah, I definitely, they did have a charming way about how they, you know, made the whole drink.
It was a thing.
Yeah,
it was a thing. Like, you just, you know, they had all their fancy bitters, and you don't see a lot of that anymore. And, you know, some places do. Actually, Putnams has a pretty good bar, and they have some pretty great drinks that they've come up with over there. So
yeah, speaking of which, they have a huge draft selection, and not to be like a commercial, but it's definitely one of the funnest bar scenarios, because of the, I call it like an S-shaped bar, that it makes it really easy to talk to people. And in the design, they really did a great job in thinking about you know, communicating with each other. It was a great idea.
Yeah. Well, good thing there is no Prohibition, because there probably wouldn't be a Putnams, and then we'd all be screwed. So
right. And I'm getting sidetracked again. So let's go back to different perspectives. Is there a different culture that you would like to experience, go to another country or a religion base or something that you think it would be interesting to have that?
I think probably experiencing another country that speaks another language. I think that would be really cool. Do
you have one in mind? Is there a culture that you're drawn to?
There's a few. I love French food, so experiencing French food and being able to enjoy the French. And I've been to Paris and traveled there a little bit. I haven't been to Spain, but that's definitely a culture that I would like to experience. There's a really great arts culture in Spain, so maybe that. And I've been to Italy, so I don't know, I just feel like Eastern Europe is not Eastern Europe, but Europe and some parts of Eastern Europe are a draw too.
What about species? Is there another species you'd want to come back as, or you're curious about their lifestyle? We like to go deep.
Well, that's pretty deep. I've always had a pretty great fascination with elephants. Maybe I would want to be an elephant. I don't know. I think they live a, pretty emotional life, so I don't know if I can handle that.
Interesting. Emotional life.
Yeah, they never forget.
Good point.
And when they lose their child, they remember it forever.
Oh,
so
terrible.
I can't even imagine having to deal with that kind of thought process. But just their grace and the massive size of them, and to be able to walk around and barely make a sound is pretty fascinating.
It's interesting. We're going to be wrapping up here, but I just have a couple more questions. Sure. What is your, this is a little bit more on the heavy topic, so if you can answer it, we'll go into it. But do you have any idea, in the greater scheme of life, what your purpose is in terms of, I know that I'm supposed to do this?
I think I'm supposed to record things. I'm supposed to document things, and I to be honest, I haven't found the thing that I'm supposed to be recording. So I can't say that I know what that is, but I know that I'm supposed to be taking pictures and dabbling in this and that is great, but there's a greater project out there that will make a huge impact. I just haven't found it yet.
And just while you're on your search, how can people find you and follow you and fan you? Where can they get a hold of you?
I love Instagram, obviously, for the pictures. So I'm on Instagram at KimNick22. It's KIMNICK 22. And then at my website at nicolaisphotography.com. Those are my two big social medias or contacts.
And then your wedding business, you said too.
Yeah, my wedding business, if you're looking to get married, is Bride and Joy. It's bride and joy. And it's a little confusing. Just call me.
Okay, there's also links on the Putnam site as well as the Sweet Little Bloodhound site to find everybody too. But
if you just Google Bride and Joy, it'll come up in the first couple of hits. So
last night was our first Putnams Unplugged, and we were dealing with technical ruckus, and we had guest artists last night, the Levins. They were fantastic, and we were really happy to have them. But we weren't able to record our podcast. So I really appreciate you taking the time to interview with me, and we'll get something up there for our fans. And I want to thank you for being a part of it and for offering your time for the indie artists, as well as Putnams Pub and Cooker at 419 Myrtle Avenue, cross street Clinton Avenue, for offering up the venue, fantastic venue for us to have this event. And I'm Devlin Miles from Sweet Little Bloodhound. You can find us at sweetlittlebloodhound.com, or you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SLB. It's hard to say. SL Bloodhound.
No, they
SL
choke you up.
Bloodhound, right? Yeah, at SL Bloodhound on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook it's Devlin Miles Fans. So this is our signing off. We look forward to.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Okay, cool. And we look forward to having you and hearing more about it. Maybe we'll do some updates as we go along. And this has been a production of SLB In the Trailer, and it's a copyrighted Devlin Miles.
And still you're there at
2015. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Haunted, 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 endlessly losing patience, trying to keep my head. Ghosts wander, wander, wander everywhere. I can't take this, living with the undead, barely there. Running scared, I know I have to face this. Regrets are worthless imitations. I wove a plot that never changes. Gotta stop creating limitations. I'm tired of breathing in your vapors. Goodbye to all the mental labor. I'm free, and I'm not gonna waste my time